Many hold the mistaken belief that Kevin Feige is the architect of the MCU, something we have argued for years that he is not. Case in point, the highly successful Deadpool and Wolverine was a Ryan Reynolds production on which Kevin Feige had but minimal involvement. The likes of WandaVision, Ant-Man Quantumania, The Marvels and the upcoming Captain America Brave New World are Kevin Feige productions through and through though. Now, the creator of Deadpool has weighed in, and what he has to say will not help the image of one Kevin Feige. Let's dive in. This comes to us from The Hollywood Reporter, and their story, Deadpool creator Rob Liefield will no longer work with Marvel after Deadpool and Wolverine premiere indignities. The writer-artist describes several perceived slights, such as being denied access to the afterparty, and makes a head-turning claim. Kevin Feige does not treat comic book creators well. We have some more information about Feige later on here, but let's first dive into this story. Rob Liefield is done with Marvel. The comic artist and creator says that after more than 30 years, he is severing ties with the publisher for whom he created renowned characters Deadpool and Cable. Liefield laid out his decision in a 90-minute episode of his Robservations podcast, as well as in a follow-up interview with The Hollywood Reporter, where he detailed a series of perceived slights at July's New York premiere of Deadpool and Wolverine. At the premiere, Liefield learned that he and his family were not invited to the after-party, something he was accustomed to attending. He also felt snubbed by Disney brass, including Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige, whom he says was near him on the red carpet but did not acknowledge him. "It was meant to embarrass, diminish, defeat me," Liefield said on his podcast of not gaining access to the after-party. And there was another apparent slight. Liefield said he posed for professional photos with creatives on the Deadpool and Wolverine team, but later was told by his publicist that those photos were deleted. He believes they were only taken as a courtesy and not intended to be used, though other photos, featuring Liefield alone as well as with his family, appeared as part of Disney's Getty Press portal from the event. This article then proceeds to discuss credits and how Liefield wasn't entirely happy with either Marvel's practice on the publishing side in general and how he was denied a special credit in Deadpool and Wolverine. The article then continues, detailing an email he wrote to Marvel. "Marvel's treatment of creators has never been their strength," Liefield wrote in the email. "Without the worlds, the characters, and the concepts that we create, and in this specific case, the world of Deadpool, there are no films to shoot. No blockbusters to distribute, and I'm not the easy button at Staples. I'm the human imagination behind it all." He asked if his requests could be elevated to Feige or Disney CEO Bob Iger. "Comic book creators cannot continue to be relegated as afterthoughts. This is easy to address. Unless I reach out to address it, it will never manifest," he continued. Liefield did not receive a response, but was told by his agent at Verve that the message was not received well inside Marvel. A day later, he tweeted, "My reps were screamed at today. We are not Fox. Tell me about it." Also hung up on. He believes the tension stemming from this email led to him not being invited to the Deadpool and Wolverine after-party. Liefield clearly feels strongly about credits and has been on a rage on X about that during the publishing of this article. Still, I think there may be another reason why Kevin Feige snubbed him so badly as well, though I stress that it is speculation from my side. As we have covered before, Deadpool and Wolverine was pitched 10 or so times before it was greenlit, and when it was greenlit, it was Bob Chapek who gave that green light. Quite possibly without Kevin Feige signing off on it first, for Ryan Reynolds did have a degree of creative control that no other filmmaker has had on a Marvel production up until that point. So what did Kevin Feige do? Well, he publicly tried to dissuade Hugh Jackman from agreeing to being in the movie, that's what. It almost looks like he tried to sabotage it, because make no mistake about it, the success of Deadpool and Wolverine is first and foremost credited to Ryan Reynolds, not him. The imminent failure of Captain Falcon America, by contrast, will be credited to Kevin Feige, who, in accordance with the Peter principle, has been promoted to the level where he is incompetent. Because make no mistake about it, the failure of the MCU these past 5 years is on him. Many mistakenly believe that Kevin Feige is the architect of the MCU, but let's puncture that myth by revisiting a clip from our video covering the book documenting the rise of the MCU, picking up from when Ike Perlmutter hired David Maisel to form Marvel Studios in order to facilitate the MCU. Now, setting up a fully fledged and externally funded studio was beyond what Perlmutter or Arad could do, but Maisel had the know-how to make that happen. Perlmutter hired him, but since that meant ending Arad's strategy, that's when Arad left Marvel and continued producing the Spider-Man movies for Sony that he was contractually locked in for. Maisel continued where Arad had left off at Marvel though, and established Marvel Studios. But to be clear, Maisel was only able to do that with the help of Ike Perlmutter, building on what Perlmutter had already started with Avi Arad. Thus, it was the combined contributions of Ike Perlmutter, Avi Arad, and David Maisel that created Marvel Studios, and with it, the MCU. Now you may wonder, what about Kevin Feige? Kevin Feige was along for the ride, but the fact of the matter is that he had jack shit to do with any of this. He was a lowly runner working for Lauren Schuler Donner, initially for free, a dreamer with exactly 0 accomplishments to his name, and I mean that literally. Where the book breezes through Perlmutter and Arad becoming self-made millionaires and empire builders before even meeting for the first time. The only way it can build up Feige is with extended and romanticized sequences of him sitting in his childhood room, looking at the movie posters on the wall and dreaming of how he could have made them better. But he was good at getting Lauren Schuler Donner her coffee and whatever else she needed done, so he worked his way up to being her representative on the X-Men, which was produced by her company for Fox. That's where Feige had the good fortune to meet and impress Avi Arad with his work ethic and knowledge of Marvel Comics and his commitment to seeing them done right. And so, Avi Arad hired Feige to help him out on more of his Marvel movies. Make no mistake about it though, if it weren't for Avi Arad hiring him, and by extension for Ike Perlmutter, as there would be no X-Men movie without him, chances are you would never have heard about Kevin Feige. He'd be just another of the thousands of obscure low-level producers whose name you see in movie credits but don't recognize. Feige did demonstrate his worth under the leadership of Avi Arad though, and when David Maisel and Perlmutter assembled Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige was entrusted with the position of President of Production. Though, as the book reveals, Perlmutter had a more experienced backup lined up in case Feige couldn't hack his increased responsibilities. So with or without Kevin Feige, there would have been an MCU. Luckily for Feige though, he did hack it, so with him it was. Following that video, we did a follow-up on the fall of Marvel, which just so happens to correspond with when Kevin Feige was promoted to his highest level of incompetence. Check that video out, link is in the description. We did, however, mention that Ryan Reynolds was the driver behind the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, yet even he is in hot water right now, courtesy of his wife Blake Lively, who is rapidly getting exposed as another Amber Heard, only there is no evidence as of yet that she dropped a grumpy in Justin Baldoni's bed. Either way, we'll be having more on that story soon as well, so stay tuned for that, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. For now, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments.